Hey, forgive the crude methods, but it just got done laying down this tape measure because I'd like to make a makeshift parking lot in my driveway. And I'm doing that because I'm making a video on the Infiniti FX50. And for that, I'm going to need lines. So let's get the vehicle started and see how well we can illustrate the points we are trying to make. Start the vehicle. I hope it comes out clearly because the LED lights are kind of flickering on my screen over here. AC is blowing full blast at auto, so let's turn the fan down just a little bit so I'm not fighting against the wind to be heard in here. Okay, so this is a 2009 Infiniti FX50, and like some Nissans and many Infinitis of that time period, this vehicle came out with a backup camera. It was standard. Well, for the FXs it was standard at that point. And what that means is that, let's see what's behind me. We've got, well, I can only see my phone here, my garage door. And it's got a little loose, but I was trying to show you what's behind me. There you go, my garage door. And that's what you can see there, my garage door, right? So in this case, in case you don't want to turn your head like we were taught to do, whenever you're backing up into a parking spot, put it in reverse. And right here, you can see the view of the garage door. And I think it's a pretty handy feature. Mine comes with, you know, some predictive lines, which when you turn here, you can see the yellow line over there, kind of telling you where you're trying to go. The green, yellow, red tell you how far you're from an obstacle, so it's pretty cool. All right, so let's set that down. We're going to talk about this feature in a lot of detail, okay? All right, perfect. So in 2009, for the Infiniti FX, Nissan Infiniti actually did a little more. They gave us more than just the backup camera, and I was withholding this other information intentionally. That's why I was holding it like this. But we actually have another feature. Let me put it in reverse and see. Would you look at that? You see a view of the whole car. This feature is officially called the Around View Monitor. Very expressive in the name, but I think more commonly called as a 360-degree view cameras or bird's eye view. It basically gives you an idea of what's on top and what's, you know, it gives you an assume you're playing with toys, and it gives you an idea of what's around you. So not only do you back up into this, but you can, and that's why I was trying to show those lines right there. You see the tape measure, that yellow? It gives you a decent idea as to how far you are from lines. I use it a lot. I use it when getting into parking lots, for example, so I can back up and kind of square myself up with the lines, make sure I don't hit anything, and obviously make sure, pay attention, don't hit anything else on that side. So just something I wanted to show. Okay, so that is the 360-degree view camera. And again, bonus and bonus and bonus. Put it in reverse. You can see the view. It shows the back of the garage door, right? Which is right there, which is what I talked about. But you can actually do a little more. There's another part to it. One, let's put it in drive, and no, let's put it back in reverse, and you can hit the camera button, this, and there's another view. See this right here? And you can see the yellow and the green. This right here is the front right view for the US vehicles. If you hit the camera button again, it goes just back to the original camera. You can also do this by just touching the camera, change view, and change view, right? And this shows you the top. It helps you position yourself well, don't hit anything else. And this one here, its purpose is to help you whenever you park. Assuming you live in a city where you do a lot of curbside parking, you don't want to curb your wheel when you go against something. So if you notice, when I turn my steering wheel, you can see my actual wheel over there. A little bit of it, just a little bit. But that gives you an idea as to how far you are from the curb. I turn it this way, you can almost see the tire. Please pardon the screen if it doesn't look very crisp, because 2009 screen. And let me do this. I want to show you this. Do you see that brown stuff right here? This is like gray, this is brown. That brown stuff is the green grass over there. So 2009 screen, 2009 technology, it is what it is. One thing I have to mention about my experience with Nissan cameras is that, especially the higher end vehicles, the Infiniti higher end vehicles, is that their cameras might not be as they might not pop as much with regards to color, but they're very accurate with regards to visual representation. That is, they don't do this weird fish eye effect and you don't really know where you are. It doesn't distort images. The images are pretty good, so that's something I can give them for it. All right, so I just wanted to show you that you do have that bonus feature right here where you can turn your wheels, and as I said, this helps you check there. In the US, you only get that side because I'm assuming, or I'm guessing they are assuming, that if you're in this position, you can at least check your driver's side. You know, lean over, look outside, see what's going on. But they still do have that feature that they had back in the day, whereby if you flick your mirror selector to the left side, to the driver's side, while you're in reverse, watch what happens. It turns downwards, and if you move it to the center, back up it goes. You could do the same thing on the other side right there, and this is what I'm going for. Put it to the right side, it tilts down, and to the center, off it goes. And the other thing is that I stress the being in reverse, because if you did this, it's off to the, but then you move this to park, the mirror goes back up. You can actually change the angle and extension, you know, basically the position, your reverse position for your mirror, but I covered that in a different video, so we'll try to make this one as short as it can be. Mark that. So let's move this back here. As I said, there are many different ways that they try to help you and make sure that you don't end up hitting something, you know, try to make sure you park properly. So you might have noticed that right now it already changed view. What it's showing you is those cars right there, and that's what you're seeing. So yes, correct, you do have a front view as well, and as you can see right here, it tells you front. Right here tells you it's the rear. All right, just paying attention to that part. You could change the view as well just by pushing this, touching on this. This is a touch screen, so that's why it allows you to do that, and it still gives you the same view on the side over there. Okay, and touch this again. When you keep touching the screen, it just changes views a couple of times, but if you touch the camera button, after that it disappears, so in case that's what you want. But let's go back to this part right here. Okay, so this uses a series of 4 cameras, and I hope during the course of the video I'll be able to show you how they work. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. One basically under the hood, this one like near the license plate trim, this one on the left side mirror, right side mirror. And the front and the rear cameras have an interesting view. That you've got 2 views. One, you've got this front view that shoots all the way there, and then you've got a very wide one that shows you exactly what is, you know, what's right in front of the vehicle. And when you take it to the back, so let's move forward just a little bit. So it works even when you're moving forward, you know. It's kind of pointless at night, I'm going to tell you that. But when you do this for the rear, again, you've got 2 views. You've got this really long view, and then you've got a very wide one right here. And as I said, I hope to be able to show that on video shortly. While I'm here, I wanted to show something else that you could try to work with. Let's exit out of the camera setting over here. Go to setting. Okay, other, makes sense as to that's where they wanted it. Then camera. There are 2 settings I'd like to kind of, well, there's a blind area reminder. Let's do this. Sonar display. We'll talk about sonar later, but for now I want to play with 2 different things: predictive course lines and the default to front side view. So let's turn this one off. Right now it's on. Turn it off, predictive course lines. And actually, let's turn it back on, then I can show you what it is first. So when you're going to turn your steering wheel, right, you can see this green line I have over here. It's a green square, so to say. Let's do it with the rear. It's a little easier to explain with the rear first. So you've got red, yellow, green distances, but when you turn your steering wheel like this, do you see that yellow line over there? That the yellow line tells you this is where you're going to go, but the green lines usually tell you this is actually where you are right now. So it kind of helps me, you know, work with it a few times. You kind of understand how to work it. This is as far as it will go. I like it. And when you have the steering wheel sort of centered, the lines disappear. When you do this for the front, you have the those are predictive course lines. So you have the predictive course lines for the front as well. And the funny thing about the front is that when you turn your steering wheel this way to the right line disappears. You only have the left one to guide you. And so you have to remember that this is where your left wheel is going to be, which, I mean, in essence, that's kind of where the danger is going to be, you know, unless you change your view, and so you can see what you're going to be hitting on the right side as well. In this case, it's that Murano over there. So change the view again. That's where we're starting to go. And when you go to the left, lines both appear, then bam, the left line disappears. Predictive course lines, that's what they are right there. So have them centered. This tells you you're going straight. And let's go back to that setting thing. Okay, camera off. Predictive course lines, let's turn that off. And when you go back to the camera, for the front, you've got nothing. It just kind of gives you your distances, right? I can turn my wheel, but it's not telling you exactly where you are. And you can do the same thing for the rear. And when you turn your steering wheel, nothing, right? It just tells you where you are without really telling you where you're. It uses a steering angle sensor, which is like connected to the clock spring, to let you know that this is, according to this angle, if you keep doing what you're doing, this is probably where you're going to end up. But then, as I said, you use this other solid existence there to tell you, well, regardless of where I want to go or where the prediction is going to be, if I keep doing this, I will hit something else. Okay, personal preference, I prefer the lines to be visible. So off that we go. Back to setting. Oh well, that's what I intended to do this. Camera. Course lines on. Okay, while here, let's look at this other feature. Default to front side view. Turn that on. And what you're gonna notice right now is that when I hit camera, I don't get the 360 view. I get this one right here. And I think maybe this is more important to people who live, you know, in cities, as I said, more tight parking. For now, what I have outside there on my mirror, I've got the tape and a jug. I don't know if you can see it out there. Well, maybe not. I can't even see it. There you go. There's the oil jug right there. But that's what that little blob is. And you can still change the view if you wanted to. But as I said, the default is going to be this one right here. So that, let's turn everything off. When you put it in reverse, watch what happens. It goes straight to that view. And as I said, you can change it if you wanted to, right? If it's in reverse, it always has a view. But for my purposes, I think it just works better for me to have the other, the bird's eye view personally. So let's go to others again. And camera, default side view, no, not for me. So these are the main settings I like. And I guess while I'm here, I'm gonna change the settings here because I'll be making a video on that later. We'll talk about it. Something else that I could cover while I'm talking about this is, you've seen me switch out of the camera view to go to the setting menu to play with the camera, right? So forget that. There's actually another display setting, and usually you just need to have the display turned on. You could change display in many different ways. You could go to setting. Okay, let's exit out of that. You could go to setting, display, and you could change the, you know, turn it on, change the brightness, contrast, background color, and things like that. But there's another way you could also do this. Let's get back out of here. Engage the display in one way, you know, either put it in reverse, or you could just push the camera button. But then what happens here, if you hit the setting, you have the option to either turn the display on, change the brightness, the tint, the color, the contrast. And I'm saying this because sometimes, depending on what you're working on, you might find that the default view doesn't really work for you. For me, I'm making the best of the situation. It's working, you know, recording a video showing these lines on like gray asphalt and having like grass looking gray instead of green. You know, it's gray brown looking instead of green. It's a little off, but I've played with these settings in the past, and unfortunately, they don't really tend to work for me very well. So the color doesn't really seem to change that much, personally, in my experience. So I end up just leaving them in the default setting. Tint, I mean, again, the grass isn't getting any greener with these settings. Just wanted to show this. Color, you'd think this would enable you to do more. Nope, still nothing. It used to be a default button. Contrast, you know, you want more? Look at it. It's not getting any greener at all, so it's a little bit of a disappointment, but you know, it is what it is. There's a black level. Okay, it's again in the middle. You could change it, make it wider, but as I said, not much difference in my experience, you know. Hey, look at that. That's a little better, but hey, good luck seeing things at night with that. There was a way you could go back to default, but I usually just remember that whenever you have this view, this line right here is where your middle line is. So I just figured I'd add that into the video because it might be of benefit in case the previous owner of your vehicle or somebody in the past just played with your settings, or maybe just changing the settings will make it work better for you. I think the next thing is going to be sonar, but while I'm here, let me go ahead and make a demo to show you how different those two cameras look like whenever, you know, depending on the object you're looking at, okay? And is this a good point? You've got the cars kind of far, and right here we've got the distance is pretty good. So let me set up another camera to see if we can show this. We're set now, and I'm going to do a demo of the 360-degree camera, and I'll be walking outside there near the cars, and I want you to pay attention to the 4 different cameras. I'll do my best to point out the cameras with this one right here when I walk outside, and then I want you to see what it looks like. And I've hinted at this, that for the front camera, you have 2 functionalities. You have the long range view, but then you also have the wide angle camera. So that's what we're gonna go for. But first, before I move anywhere, I had noticed that this mirror felt a little wonky. And what happens is that when I do this, the image over there ends up jiggling. So what I'm gonna do is retract the mirror first, close. Oof, snap, crackle. But it should work, and then open the mirrors again. Okay. That's it. And at this point, it's still a little loose, but it's there. It's connected, right? So in this case, what's going to happen is that if this were really loose and you were using it, I guess if it was so windy, it just messes with those lines just a little bit, very slightly, but in this case, the allowance is pretty good. So without further ado, let's jump out and show you these cameras. Let's do a demo. I'll start with the front, and right now you should be seeing me in the interior camera walking towards these vehicles. And you should see me walking back right now. And what's going to happen is that the front camera is right here. Go up on the 2009s, it's right here. So when I do this, the wide angle camera should be getting affected, okay? And let's do this. Let's go to the side mirror, go low, and right here, this is where the other camera is. So again, if I do this, I'm like right in the side camera's business. Go towards the back, and on the back side right here on the trunk, basically they set this camera up on the left side right here, and so this right here is the camera. So when I do this, I'm messing with that rear view, okay? And likewise, when I move to the right side, this is where that other camera is, down here. So with these mirrors, basically you have a swelling over here, and that swelling is indicative of having a 360-degree camera. And I guess at this point, just walk back inside. I've mentioned that it does time out sometimes, right? Okay, so we're gonna go a little crazy with this one. I guess it's already timed out. I don't know how long it takes to do that. I hope the inside camera captured it all. So what I'm gonna do now, though, is put parking brake on, put it in reverse. I skipped it. Put it in reverse, and I'm going to go back there so I can show a demo of what's going on. Okay, so let's do this. Again, to the back, I said you can stand. So far you should be seeing me coming towards, you know, I guess behind the vehicle, kind of far near the garage door. But when I come closer, you should be able to see me now right there, like I'm all up in the camera. Okay, so that's it. That's pretty much, those are the views I wanted you to see. And honestly, at this point, I think that's just a bonus, and the video is pretty much done for all intents and purposes. Undo the e-brake. I wanted to jump in before something drastic happened, so I'm gonna go ahead and park my vehicle. Let's get a side camera view. As I back up, let me not run anything over. And I'll stop right here, right? Do you guys see this little icon over here? Yeah, that is a sonar system. So I think I'm gonna have to save that for the next video, just so that this video isn't too long.